What is up, winning team? So I'd like to take a moment to speak with you all about the nightmare from hell, or the night from hell. And that is quite dramatic, but I've just had such a strong revelation about this whole spirit world versus natural world thing through my own experience. And I'm going to explain about this to you all. And I just came out literally to buy a boost. I'm trying to find, I might go sit at the park down the road there, but can I be bothered to walk back up, all the way back up the hill afterwards? Let's go this way for now. Anyway, so yeah, I decided I would come on here. I actually just started filming this video and then I accidentally stopped it. So we're just going to start again. Otherwise, editing me, she's a work in progress. But anywho, so it all started, as you guys would have seen in my last video. In the morning, I couldn't sleep. It was 2 a.m. Now, obviously, I was blaming myself because I'm thinking, I'm the one blasting rock music, thinking about fighting Jezebel, shadowboxing in the dark. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to be going to sleep. So I decided instead that I would, You see, this is what bothers me. The church, I'm pretty sure, looks closed. And why is the mosque open? But anyway, this is what bothers me, but we're not going to get into it. So, is this the way that I can walk here? Yeah. So basically, after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to calm down now. I'm going to be calm. I'm not going to listen to anything that's going to start my adrenaline or spike my blood pressure. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be chill and restful and peaceful and whatever. So I did that because I had said to the Lord, you know, God, we'd been saying to each other, well, I've been saying to him that, like, I do want to participate in whatever this restful thing that is sleep that people seem to have, because I just don't find sleep restful. Like, and I've now understood why. And it's all to do with the spiritual thing and to do with the significance of being asleep in particular versus any other spiritual battle. Because I realize when I'm in a spiritual battle, like while I'm awake, like now, I'm at least conscious enough of my own choices. I'm a lot more in control, basically. And that's the thing about rest. It's the same reason I said why people find it hard to talk to the Lord. And it's because you're doing so much controlling of the situation that you can't just like rest in his presence and hear what he has to say. Well, the spiritual world also likes to take advantage of our so-called restful state. And so basically, here's what I realized. And here's how the night went. It was exhausting. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And people are like, you should just sleep. Sleep is important. And I'm like, I woke up honestly feeling actually like I've been in a fight. Like right now, my fingers are hurting. My knees hurt. My entire body actually hurts. As if I was like doing actual boxing in an actual ring for the last 12 hours. So here's how it all went down. I tried to go to bed. I can't sleep. I think I'm asleep. I think I've been asleep for like an hour. Well, not even an hour, for hours. I'm thinking I'm going to wake up and it's going to be 9 a.m. Oh no. It was like 40 minutes later. And you know how I knew it was 40 minutes later? Because I'd fallen asleep watching Trisha Paytas. What was it, Trisha Paytas I was watching? And I'm like, this podcast is 2 hours long. Why have I woken up? And it is 43 minutes in. So that's how I knew how long I'd been asleep, right? And again, why was I watching her podcast? Because I find her voice calming and I like her energy. And she's just talking, her and her co-host just talk about random, irrelevant information in the world, which is just very peaceful for me to listen to because it's literally just like the white noise of living on this planet. I love her though. Anyway, so I did that, woke up 3 or 4 times. And I kept having this recurring dream that I woke up and somebody was trying to call me and it was just really frustrating. Eventually I wake up at 6:30 again after having fallen asleep and gotten back up 4 other times. So I wake up again. Now I'm already, at this point, I actually felt somewhat rested. And I realized, you know, even though, like I said to everybody, it doesn't make any sense that I'm not sleeping, when I have my little short bursts of sleep, I actually do wake up feeling rejuvenated, believe it or not. So that's what happened. I woke up and I was like, okay, I feel better. But no, Lord, we said we were going to do this thing. of like, you know, because I had said to the Lord, like, if I was going to focus on holding on to my faith, and that was going to be the only thing I could guarantee I could hold on to, and everything else he was going to have to keep in his hands. And that's what I've realized, because seeing the state, my spiritual state that I'm in, it is a miracle. It is a miracle that I'm living with the level of just not even dysfunction, but just like, you know, like I was saying to you guys before, like it's almost like my life is quite disordered. Like I don't sleep, I don't really eat, I just don't know what I'm doing in the meantime, but somehow I'm pushing forward, and I feel like it's all to do with my mindset, to be honest, and obviously the Lord doing his part, because my focus is just to hold on to faith. So after this short stint of not really sleeping, I woke up, I was feeling so happy, and I was crying with happiness, just thinking like, wow, Jesus really died for me to live, you know what I mean, and all of this. And my period pains have subsided. And this is another thing that the Lord is doing on purpose, because it has been years. Like actually in recent periods, I don't even ask him to take the pains away. They just go away almost immediately on the first day. If not, I just ask him politely, and then usually within like 15 minutes, they're gone. I've been asking him for like 5 or 6 days, and we're still here. So I haven't really understood that. And that was something I was talking to him about throughout the night. Anyway, I decided to go back to sleep, right? Because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to get more hours of rest. As a human, I know the science behind it all, but then a lot of the science, can I also say, is in favor that the lacking, just like how they don't understand like the fourth dimension, and how that's affecting our dimension, similar to like me talking about how I think time is a construct. I don't know if I said that in this clip, but I do think time is a construct. Because why? Well, the law of entropy. You've heard the story. I've explained it before. If it's your first time, check out my God versus Science video and wait for me to drop the book, everyone. So anyway, so I was thinking, I get from a scientific aspect, but science is speaking to the observable and to those who live in the world, in the observable of the world. So yeah, if your fuel source in life and living is the flesh, the food, the sleep, the science, the medication, the whatever, you will need to sleep because you don't have any other source of life coming into you. So you have to essentially siphon off the very small amounts in this living. And anyways, because we're never going to be able to do it enough, because life is not something that we participate in, it's something we receive through Christ that we gave up at the beginning of, everything. I don't like this angle for me, in all fairness. Okay, this is a bit better. I need to take this bag off as well. Hold on. So we're just taking the little from what we can get, How many calories do you need to exist every day? If you're a woman, about 1,800. If you're a man, about 2,200. That's how many maintenance there's literally a fly on me. Maintenance calories and, all of this, and sleep so that your body can rest and your muscles can rejuvenate, yada, yada, yada. When Christ died and I received this Holy Spirit and I received the life that was within his body and I became his body, then his life lives in my body, right? And so now I'm realizing that, this is all a form of protection from the Lord for me, because, when I'm like asleep and in certain things in this world, I get caught, like I'm out of my depth, basically, because that's what I've realized. I'm so out of my depth with this situation because in my dreams, literally, guys, it was like I would struggle to walk. I'd be struggling to, literally my toes are tingling right now. I'd be struggling to walk, and then I would like fall onto my knees, and then I would be like crawling. And in the dreams, I'd be thinking, can no one see that I was thinking, this is so embarrassing because I can't even stand up. I'm like crawling. My hands feel like they've got no energy. My feet have got no energy. My knees are hurting. And it was like the last scene from me being asleep, which is when I was like, I was walking up the stairs, and I just I couldn't even muster up the strength to do anything. I just immediately fell down the stairs. And then I didn't even see what happened when I fell. I just woke up and I was like, well, this ain't good. And I realized that on a physical aspect, when I'm conscious of what's happening myself, have I gained so much knowledge and understanding of how to do certain things, you know, places to make sure that I don't be, things that I make sure I don't watch or listen to, all that kind of thing, right? And also the other thing is why the enemy is tripping us up is, as I've said to you guys before, that the devil isn't trying to do things in our face. This is the whole thing about Jezebel. It's about getting you to be in destruction and disorder, but like not know where it's coming from. So you're just enslaved to something you cannot pinpoint. All right. So that's why I feel like the Lord allowed this to happen now. Because had I known this is where I was at, I can tell you for free that I would not be doing half the things I'm doing right now. Because I would be like, oh, this is above my pay grade. We are so above my pay grade. And this is what it's like when you have the Lord, is you just become, he takes you into stuff that you're not actually prepared to do. And so if you don't have him, everything comes crashing down. And that's why we're seeing a lot of what we're seeing in the body of Christ now, because people have gone into things. We went into it, like I said, if your fuel force isn't the kingdom of heaven, then it's automatically by default this kingdom. Therefore, you by default become enslaved to this kingdom. So like stepping away from the Lord, I don't know what would happen to me. But I feel like all this stuff on the spiritual level would immediately produce itself in the natural. And I really don't think I would even make it, because that's what I was thinking when I was talking to the Lord throughout the night. I was like, wow, I really have conquered the spirit of death. That's what I felt like. I really conquered this thing that's been chasing after me my entire life, literally since I gave my life to the Lord, because I've never really slept. My entire life, I was never a sleeper. I was always somebody that like slept max like 3 or 4 hours. Even when I was at school, part of that was though because I didn't want to grow tall, and everyone was like, if you eat well and if you sleep long, then you'll grow nice and tall. Oh, I was like, I don't want to be nice and tall. I'm a woman. So I would avoid sleep also on purpose, which I know is insane, but it's what I did. So anyway, yeah, so now I'm just realizing that this is how real the spiritual battle is. And the reason why I'm seeing these things and I'm having these experiences, meanwhile other people are having restful sleep, is because you haven't been awakened into your spiritual powers in the same way. When I say spiritual powers, I don't mean that in like some kind of like airy-fairy, like Hollywood kind of meaning, but I just mean like it's almost like the closer you get to the Lord, the more you experience the spiritual things. Just like the closer you get with the devil, the more you experience his spiritual things, and hence the state of the world right now, where the freaking Jeffrey Epstein had the Department of Justice have decided that he was not murdered, he did not blackmail anyone, and there's no client list. So these are the things that were irritating me before I was going to bed, when I was like trying to sleep as well, because I'm just like, of course, again, in this stupid world, in this stupid natural world that we're living in, this is what's going to happen. And now it's going to be, well, we didn't have the Department of Justice. I'm so glad I didn't discover what the acronym DOJ meant until just now, because I would have been, this is going to be my next thing that's going to bother me, Department of Justice. But anyway, so if you're part of that kingdom, then you part of how this kingdom runs. And I've been running on another kingdom my entire life, not even understanding how I've been running on this other kingdom, right? And this is why things are just be happening. And at the same time, because I was like, God, why is it that I can like go and do these things, but then be so exhausted at the end of the day, be so drained like every day, and like just about feel like I'm just about surviving? Because that's what I've realized, why I don't have energy to do things, why I'm a horrible friend, you know, because it's like I'm trying to just hold on to my faith. I have no more energy to give. I have nothing left to give. And sleeping and eating isn't helping the issues of the things I am dealing with. It isn't. That's why I go sometimes days without eating or sleeping. And it's not because I'm trying to keep cute and snatched or something, which heck, that was the other thing bothering me, all this bloating. And that was actually what bothered me, by the way, in my singing video. Was I was so bloated again, and I was just like, oh, being a woman sucks. But anyway, if not for that, honestly, I was less bothered about everything. And here's another funny story about me in this rock story arc of my life, right? So I sang the song "Take Me Back to Eden," right? And at the thing, and I honestly sang it not because I felt like I would sing it well, but because I just love the song. And it's all to do with the lore of the song. Now, this is relevant because the guy Vessel, his name is Vessel, he calls himself Vessel, who's the lead singer of that band, right? Sleep Token. They're called Sleep Token. Why? Because Vessel gets these messages from what God? None other than the God of sleep. So when he's making his music, and that's why I think it's so funny. Truly, I just find it so much more doable to exist in hell than I do outside of it. But anyway, so that's why this band's called Sleep Token, because they're a token to Sleep, the false god. And he is singing the words given by Sleep. And I just thought it was so funny that he's singing Take Me Back to Eden. Because this is what I've been realizing about these rock songs, right? They're all like, especially when they start to talk about God and godly things, it's the same as the world. It's like being so close, but being just off. And it's always that just offness that is the thing that gets us as humans, why we're not perfect, we're not deserving, and why we're here living enslaved to entropy and time. So that's what fascinated me with the song and the band, and the fact that for him, he was trying to become a vessel. And this is how he presents himself as a result. You know what I mean? Looking all crazy with his mask and his hands painted black. And I was thinking, you know what? It is a dark place when you become the vessel for the kingdoms, right? But obviously with the Lord, which is like what I'm saying now, I'm thinking, you really have just been doing so much more than I even realized in my own life. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm actually a little bit scared now. That's why I came out. I was like, I'm gonna just like get some fresh air, feel a bit rejuvenated. And again, why is it that I feel like being out in nature has been so good for me? Again, it's because God created this life. He created this planet and this ground that we walk on, and the trees that we're amongst. So being in that presence feels like already being in the presence of God. Maybe because I'm being extra conscious about it. And I feel like that's why I can go from literally feeling like I'm at death's actual door. I'll walk out the door, I'll take one breath of fresh air, and I feel like, oh, you know what? I can do this thing. So that's how I'm out right now, even though I'm still feeling exhausted. And yeah, I will not be prioritizing sleep for the short term because I need to figure out what the heck I need to do. But I realize now that this is why all these things have been happening, because the things I've been saying and the things I've been doing, it's not been a joke. Like when I've been praying to the Lord, when I've been trying to figure out Jezebel, like trying to figure out who's responsible. I'm not saying she's responsible for everything. I can only talk about the things that, are in relation to my life and what I'm seeing around me. But I'm like, because even going to Italy, I was thinking, bro, now I'm thinking Jezebel's really an international girly. This is why the Lord's turning me into an international girly too, because he's like, yeah, she's not just here, she's not just there, she's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And she's one of the greatest, if not the greatest. I've said to you guys before, the best. If I was the devil and I wanted to do the maximum work of destruction, I would choose a woman. I would choose a woman, and someone who's trusting, seductive, nurturing, all in one, right? Because then everybody's gonna just go along with whatever this woman is influencing in the world, and it's gonna destroy everyone. And so meanwhile, I don't know what I'm fighting up against, but I'm fighting with the Lord, and I'm like not giving up. Like I was thinking about this the same way that I just can't give up. I'm not a giver-upper. Like, this is why I became really good at algebra, because I cannot just like not figure out what X is. It's not something I can just brush to the side. Just like I can't brush to the side the things that I see. I can't brush to the side what the kingdom of darkness is doing, and I can't brush to the side scriptures that make me uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And also the benefits, even though it's not really a benefit for me in my life, is that, well, I've not been enjoying being here anyway, so what's the point of brushing it to the side? What am I going to brush things to the side to go and do, to go and enjoy living? That's not about to happen, or it wasn't, and praise Jesus. Anywho, so that was what I realized, like this whole spiritual battle thing is just so unbelievably more real than we realize. I'm sorry for the light, you guys. I'm exhausted again. I'm gonna have to recharge from being asleep. Now I'm tired, like, and I have things that need doing, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm going to have to really go to the drawing board, because I feel like basically the long and short of it is, when I'm asleep, like I'm truly experiencing being out of my depth. And yes, is the Lord still protecting me? He is, because I feel like for me to have only seen and noticed this now, with all the other spiritual revelations, I feel like he was protecting me from that information on purpose. And I realized he does that a lot with us, where we ask him questions or we're wondering why something's happening, and he protects us from the information on purpose, because we just won't get it. We just won't get it. Like, even when Christ was saying, like, to the disciples, they were like, how come you speak in parables? What, you know, when are you coming back? What's going to happen? What are we going to have to do? And he's like, guys, I would explain it to you, but there's no point doing it. There's no point doing it, because you're not going to get it. And that's the thing, even about us and living and all of these experiences that I'm having and whatever. It's like, what am I supposed to tell anyone? No, people are not going to get what I'm talking about, because people don't get the spiritual things, and people don't understand the unseen and the unknown. Even science is behind in that, but yet somehow science is a thing that we trust in. And my thing was always, well, you know what? I'm very much like Eve, but I didn't make the mistake she did, like, because she was out for, you know, like, gaining knowledge. And I was like, so am I. This is why I obsess over these things. But the trick is, she was deceived into who she should go to said knowledge for, because God is all the knowledge. So even just from that standpoint alone, it is the more logical choice to trust in God, right? But then obviously we have the serpent, the deceiver, you know what I'm saying? And he's obviously, you know, taking advantage of what people didn't understand. Just like how when God says, if you eat from this tree, you shall surely die. He's like, the timer is going to begin to your death. This is now the countdown to your funeral, eternally. But the devil is saying, what? You're not going to die in a fleshly sense. You're not going to die right now. Oh, the deception. And that's why we have to trust in God, because we're like out of our depth every single moment we're alive. And I feel like that's what the Lord was showing me. And so, yeah, I'm going to leave that there, guys, because I'm starting to feel really tired. And ironically, I would love to take a nap, but we all know that's not happening. And I just like to say as well that the Lord does really give me a lot of grace, like with these kinds of things, where like I will pray to him and just be like, God, please, can I just sleep? Please, can you just protect my sleep? And then he's like, yeah. And he does do it, you know. But like, when I see the things that I see, especially because everything that's happening now, my dreams are translating so strongly that it's like, I know what's happening in my dreams is real. This is just the like, that's why I feel like it's a 24/7 thing, being a human. And I realize that's why I feel like the days are so long, because like other people are spending a third of their day or around so asleep, and I'm not. So every day is like 20 hours for me plus, and it's too long to be awake. That's why I was like, God, it's too long to be awake. Honestly, it's like it would help to just get through this shift more if I slept more. So that's why. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna go. I feel really I can't even speak. Tired and exhausted after that, because this was only just now. I literally got dressed and immediately left the house, because like I have to just walk straight out the door. If I try to do anything in here right now, it's not gonna bang. So I have to just get up, go out, get some fresh air, you know what I mean, feel rejuvenated, make a video, because making a video also does in some ways help, because I feel like I'm doing something meaningful. And, you know, I'm engaging with the Lord. I'm thinking about the things of God. So it kind of does strengthen me as well. But yeah, guys, it's a very real thing. And if we understood like the amount of grace that God actually has for us, like, because a lot of this stuff I'm saying, guys, these are not things like that are just happening to me in some kind of way. There's so many things the Kingdom of Darkness is doing that we're unaware of, but we're living in the consequences of, right? And we're just living in the consequences of them. And it's literally just like how a parent is doing all these things to make sure that their child is in a safe environment, but the child has no idea what they're actually being protected from, right? They're just casually living, doing whatever the heck they want to do, and not really what they're being told to do a lot of the time. I saw a post on Instagram, and it was like, us, why don't my children listen? What was it? Why don't my children listen to what I tell them to do? And then it was like, God, lol. And I was thinking, that's so real, because it's the truth. We get frustrated. This is why I think the best way for you guys to understand truly what it means for us to have God, especially if you already have children yourself, is just envision that the same things and thoughts and experiences you're going through with those children is the same way that God is looking at you at your big age, with your grown ass, right? The same way he's looking at you, in the exact same way, and he's dedicated in the same way, for those of you who are actually loving parents, to, protecting you. And yeah, if we knew, this is why I'm saying it's the importance of protecting children from information that they don't necessarily need to know of, because it's not good for them at that stage of maturity, but maybe they can handle it when they're more mature, and all this type of stuff. But figuring that out from the beginning, dude, if I had known where the Lord was taking me in this life, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I would have said no. Even with all the blessings and the benefits, even with all the blessings and the benefits of it all, right? And how exciting it is to be in a winning season, I would have said no. Because I'm exhausted. I'm tired of fighting on a spiritual level, and I'm drained on a spiritual level, and that's why things are the way that they are, because I've actually been fighting in the actual battle. And meanwhile, people's is always looking at me crazy, like, what's wrong with her, and why is she looking not okay, and all this. She needs to, and it's like, yeah, because the battles that I'm facing up against are not something that you are even going to believe if I told you in plain English. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be like, cool, just you can't rest, just sleep. I've been trying to do that. And I truly do regret. I should have just, how this day would have gone so much better. I should have just stayed awake when I woke up at 6:30, right? I should have just stayed awake. And at that point, I was like, I'm going to shower. I'm going to record some videos, because there's a bunch of videos I want to record, right? And then I'm going to get cracking. I've got a whole bunch of things to do. I should have just done that. But there I was, trying to follow in the customs of a kingdom I don't even come from. Well, I come from, but I have very much exited into a new citizenship. But it was really early on in my life. So I think that's what's insane about all of this for me now, is it's like people don't come up against Jezebel and win. Like, Ahab didn't make it to the book of 2 Kings. Elijah was just like me, praying to the Lord. This is what I was crying about. It was Jesus dying for me, because I was thinking about how just a couple of months ago, every day, like 10 times a day, I was asking the Lord to free me of this existence. And it dawned on me why Elijah was saying the things like that, because he really was under fire. And it's like, you're literally in a battle. No one around gets this battle and thinks that the solutions are just so simple. And that's because they are under the spell, and therefore they're not a threat to the problem. So they are experiencing the consequences, but unknowingly. So they're probably blaming something else. A lot of times, people like myself, and it's truly exhausting. But yeah, like even Elijah left the Lord, who went to be with the Lord, and Elisha came. It took Jehu to finally destroy Jezebel in the end of it all. Kings later, I freaking get it now. So I'm saying, I get it. I shouldn't be here. It's a miracle. It truly is a miracle that I made it. Because that's what I was thinking when I woke up at 6:30. I was thinking, wow, I really feel like that desire of having a lack of a will to live is actually really gone. And that's why I was crying about it, because I couldn't believe it. But of course, why was it after me, pursuing me for the last entire 20 years of my living? Well, because I gave my life to Christ when I was about 7 or 8. Why has it been pursuing me all along? Because God forbid I come out here on YouTube and out in the world sharing the truths of the secrets that the kingdom of darkness has been trying to hide, and calling out the perpetrator by name in a society that, again, has been normalized. Do you know what's so funny? I'm going to do a video about it as well. Marcus Rogers and other people have spoken about how with Jezebel, there always comes tolerance. This idea of tolerance, and I've been wanting to talk about it more myself. And this is what I'm talking about. We tolerate bad behavior. We tolerate ungodly things in the body of Christ. We tolerate it. And he did an incredible post on Instagram where he was explaining that this is why, rather than leaders being and believers being convicted by scriptures, right, and actually using that as a reason to understand the grace of God and to try and, grow in our Christ likeness, we instead use excuses. We use it to have excuses. So this is what I'm saying. Rather than Jesus flipping the temples, or the fact that literally Jezebel was pushed off the balcony and devoured by dogs, right? We do this thing where we're like, oh, when there's a predator, when there's people being problematic, as long as we like them, let's just sweep it under the carpet because we got to have grace. And then we call that Christ-like. To see how we're having all these problems, we call that Christ-like, sweeping it under the carpet. People like me are messy, didn't have to say it like that, didn't have to do it like that. The number of times I hear Christians saying that, an adult, well, it didn't have to be said like that and it didn't have to be done like that. Sorry that I'm not weak like the rest of you. Sorry about that. Because honestly, when sometimes I'm having these conversations, I'm like, is this really your threshold? But anyway, this is what the tolerance is. That's how she works. She gets us to tolerate the things that we shouldn't tolerate. This is why we just have normalized all this predator behavior and everything. I was thinking about this when I was listening to Trisha Paytas as well, because she was talking about, that show. She was talking about Sydney Sweeney and like Pretty Little Liars and all this stuff, which I used to watch Pretty Little Liars, and about how, the controversy of the fact that at the time and even now that show is really controversial if you think about it, because obviously the key story arc was a 16-year-old girl who was in, I don't know if it was an affair or whatever, with her male teacher. And this is something I've had an issue with Hollywood in general, like this whole Sydney Sweeney thing, selling her bathwater. Why? This show Euphoria, I watched like one episode of it when I last went to Italy, right? Because I knew it was going to be. I'm like, why are adults, again, hopping behind, sexualizing young girls? Why are we doing that? I'm going to sit by the hill, right? But we've normalized it now. As a society, the hypersexualization of young women. And it bothers me that people just go along with it. It's just normal. Like, this is what was off to me about Britney Spears from the beginning. I was like, don't get me wrong, I love her songs. I love me some Britney. But I was thinking to myself, what kind of a father can actually sit there and allow for his daughter to make that kind of music? Like, does that not make you feel uncomfortable in the room? You know what I mean? Or, of course, my favorite, Kris Jenner. But I realized there's just so much in society that we just tolerate that just doesn't make sense. And it saddens me because, like, I think about my generation. I think about what it was like for me. I've said this to you guys. The thing that was hard for me to overcome in my life was making so many poor choices in, like, the first year of my adulthood. And, like, it was just really bothering me because I felt tainted for life. But I felt like I would just trusted in the wrong people, and I trusted in the wrong advice, and I was just literally fed to the lions, essentially, right? And so when I'm seeing the stuff happening in the world, this is the part that hurts me and it kills me when it comes to the kids, literally kills me, is I'm looking at them and I'm seeing the steps of the life that we're living in and technology, how they're unsupervised on the internet, how they're being taken to these indoctrination camps, how they are having to just live through these experiences. Because even when they were talking about this, where Trisha and all of that were talking about this age thing and young women and how it's just been very normalized, the elephant in the room, everyone, is that this society is just so degenerate, right? But it's just all done in secret, just like how the things that are happening to me are in a place that cannot be seen, right? And so I realized at a certain point that the reason the adult population makes excuses is because they're guilty. The reason the adult population consistently has to make excuses and everything, even in the church, is because people are guilty. And you know what makes me realize that? Seeing Christian folks and how they behave outside of the Christian circles, and when they are being tested or pushed in any kind of way. Because you'll be standing there all put together, right? In your lovely, the perfect dresses, in your church hats, in your suits, whatever, perfectly shaven, perfect hair bun, all of this, right? Nails perfectly painted, looking put together, hands stretched to the Lord, right in time, right on the beat, on your knees before God, you know, doing our oils and all these things. But then anytime you're pretending to be something you're not, eventually it's going to come out. Yep. And that's what is happening now. And that's what I'm realizing, that a lot of this, if this is how much acting everyone's doing, I'm just going to live my life freely and not pretend for anything, because I am the proof that God could use anyone. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there, you guys. I might make another video while I'm sitting here, because honestly, I'm kind of vibing. And I need the rejuvenation. Also, Lord, we do not need to bring the period pains back. Why are they back? But anyway, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.